Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab and today's video, which is going to be trying out some Glossier products for the very first time. If you're not new to my channel, you may have seen the video I made maybe at the end of last year or very early on in this year for 5 brands that I wanted to try in 2018. I have already tried the Linda Hallberg Cosmetics. That was the first one I tried, and I will link the video up in the cards if you want to check that one out. Another brand that was in that video was Glossier, and that's what we're doing today. If you're curious to see the other brands that I wanted to try, I'll link that video up in the cards as well if you would like to see my list. Definitely share your list of brands that you're curious about trying in the comment section down below, as I need to know if I need to be trying these as well. And I can definitely give you any feedback if they are brands I have tried, particularly indie brands, which I really am starting to enjoy more and more. So if you're interested in seeing my experience with Glossier, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have my box right in front of me. This was shipped USPS and it was 2-day priority. It was very secure package and it was taped with a logo tape. And when you open it up, it says skin first, makeup second, and it has their social media handles. My order came packaged in this bubble wrap pouch. There's a couple of brands that I've seen do this as well. I know Milk Makeup does it and Linda Hallberg Cosmetics does it as well. And inside are all the things that I ordered. I didn't order too much. It was my first time trying the brand, and so I wanted to just try a couple of things and get a feel for the brand. So the first thing I see is the brush for the Wowder that I ordered, and that's right here in this box. I do have a sample of the Glossier You perfume, which I'm really excited about. I actually saw Kathleen Lights put that in a favorites once, and I was curious about it ever since. Here I have the Perfecting Tint, which is one of the things I mentioned in my video I really wanted to try. And something relatively new to their collection are these liquid shadows. They're called Lid Stars, and I picked up a couple of shades. There's also an envelope inside with an image of the brand. That's a really nice image. It says, "Hi, finally we meet." It's really nice here. I actually want to try the perfume first because I've been so curious to try this, so I may as well start now and have a little aromatherapy while I put on my makeup. It smells fresh so far. I'm really bad at describing fragrances. It just smells clean, a little musky maybe. Now it has a smell of like tea. Very strange. If I find any of the notes on their website, I'll put them up on the screen. Now it smells like pepper. Very interesting. If you've tried that, let me know what it smells like to you, because I'm getting layers, definite layers. Okay, so I don't have too many products to try out, so I'm going to start with the foundation. I did already do my skincare and I primed my face using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, and I did my brows. So let's go ahead and get into the Perfecting Skin Tint. Okay, this is the packaging that it comes in. It's very simple plastic packaging, looks very travel friendly. You do get a complete ounce, which is what you would typically expect of a foundation, even though the packaging is so small. So let's say it says shake, then smooth over moisturized skin with fingertips. Blend upward and outward for sheer coverage and instant dewiness. I love dewiness in the summer. I actually love dewiness all year round. Comes with the territory of being a dry skin type. For your reference, I did decide to pick up the shade medium. I think that they have 4 different shades, and it's just a very sheer formula, so one that sort of adapts to your own skin tone. I'm going to just put a little bit on here. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have to use. This is super runny. Very, very watery. Like you can see, it starts to drip right away. Looks like the shade is gonna be fine. It does say to apply with your fingertips, but I think I'm going to go in with my EcoTools sponge. Let me bring you in a little closer. It is very sheer. It feels almost like putting water on my skin. I'm definitely going to have to use some more. The bad thing about having decided to use this sponge is that the sponge is actually soaking it up quite a bit. My sponge was damp, but okay, so there it is on half of my face. I haven't done a complete thorough application, but you can sort of get an idea. This half is applied and this half is not. So you can see it sort of evens out my skin tone, but everything still shines right through. I actually kind of like it. It's almost nothing as far as coverage, but I do like how it seems to even out my skin tone, and then it just disguises just a little bit of the imperfections I have here with my discoloration. I have it here as well, and you can see it's much more prominent on this side since I haven't applied to this side. So the amount that I had on my dish was only enough for half my face. Well, you can see how runny it really is. Alright, so I poured out about the same amount that I did for the other half of my face, and I'm going to finish this side. Going to try to apply it quickly and then blend it out afterwards so that my sponge doesn't have too much of an opportunity to suck this all up. So you can see how now that discoloration is evened out just a little bit, and my skin definitely looks dewy. In my video that I made of the different brands I wanted to try this year, a lot of you told me that the coverage was almost nothing, and you're absolutely right. But you know what? I don't hate that. I don't need a lot of coverage. Mostly I need to make sure I spend time covering my dark circles, but once that is done, my skin isn't bad, I don't think. And so something like this is really great, especially in the summertime when you don't want to be running around in the heat with too much makeup caked on, you know? I like it. I would have to say that before this one, the most runny foundation I had before was the MAC Face and Body, and this goes far beyond that. I mean, it's like tinted water, I would say. Okay, since this video is focused on Glossier, I'm going to go ahead and conceal my under eye circles, and I will be right back to try the setting powder. So here's something I didn't think about. My dark circles are really dark, and I typically use a pretty medium to full coverage concealer. My favorite's the Urban Decay one, but that one is not very luminous, and I didn't want there to be such a stark contrast between the skin tint and my concealer. I didn't want too much of a matte finish there, and so I went with what I believe to be one of the more radiant finish concealers in my collection, and that was the Maybelline Fit Me. So let's go ahead and try out the powder, which comes in this packaging, and I like how clean everything is. It has very nice lines, which kind of goes along with their sort of no makeup vibe. So I purchased mine in the shade Light Medium. I think that this one might come in 2 different shades. This one is called the Wowder, and there is a little tab which seals the sifter. Whoa. Alright, so there's that. And I did purchase the set with the brush. Also comes in one of these little zip bags. Okay, so here is the brush. It's a little bit misshapen from being there. It feels a little bit flat, but it is very soft, and I will go ahead and give it a try, but you can see it's a little bit misshapen. So I am going to give my under eyes another blend. I did carry that concealer up to my eyelids. You can see how it's starting to crease there. So I will give it another blend. Alright, I think that's good. I'm going to do the under eye first. This brush feels a little bit big compared to brushes that I typically prefer to use on my under eye. Just an observation, it feels a little bit big. I'm not baking or anything, I'm just patting the powder to set my concealer. As you can see, it was creasing. And I'm not going to put it on the rest of my face just yet, because I just want to focus on my eyes. So you can see the difference between this one that was set and this one is creasing pretty badly. So I'm going to repeat the blending. The brush is soft, but I just wish it was smaller. I do like it to set my lid though. I actually really like that. The brush, I don't know. I don't think you really need the brush. You could definitely find another brush that will suit this purpose. And here's what that looks like. I think I really like the powder. I really like how it's set my under eye. It feels really smooth there, really soft. Okay, let's put that guy aside and let's go ahead and play with the lid stars. I got 2 shades. I'm trying to remember which shades I bought. Bought the shade Herb, which is a military green shade. I just love those military green shades. So that's this one. I also love how these little guys, they look like test tubes, don't they? And the other shade that I got is called Cub. Cub is more of a pink shade. Okay, this one is Herb. It's actually a lot more pigmented than I expected. So this one is the shade Cub, and it's a little bit more like a rose gold. I love the packaging. It just looks like little test tubes. Let's blend these out a little bit and see what they might look like if we blend them. So there you have them blended out. I don't think they would look bad together, and since this is just a pretty much try-on video, I think I'm going to use both of them. I will stick with Cub more on the inner part of my lid, and then I'll put Herb a little bit further out. I like how my complexion is looking right now. It looks really clean and fresh. Okay, I have these two synthetic brushes. They are from Coastal Scents, just a little kit that I got once, and they're synthetic flat brushes, and I think they'll be great to move around the lid stars if I need to. So I'm just gonna go in straight from the package, and I'm going to apply Cub on the inner part of my eye. It's a lot more sheer on the eye, I would say, than it was on my hand. I'm also noticing that it's starting to move the powder just a little bit. I don't think you can see it on camera. I'm trying to see on the viewfinder, and it looks like you're not going to be able to see it on the viewfinder. But maybe it would be best to apply these shadows on bare lids, which kind of bothers me because my lids have a lot of veining, and I prefer to cover that before applying eyeshadow. So now I'm going to apply the shade Herb. Well, that's super green. And I'm going to use a different synthetic brush to blend that out. I'm going to also blend the two colors together a little bit. Personally, I think it looks better on camera than it does in person. I'm going to apply a little bit more of the Cub shade. So there you have it. Not my favorite. I'm going to duplicate the effect on the other eye and I'll be right back. I'm going to also apply some matte shadows just around to ground it. Nothing too much, but so far I would say that the lid stars are the least favorite of the three products that I tried. As I was working on it, I decided to do a wash of the Cub shade all over the lid, so I was using this one, and I feel that that gives a much nicer look overall. So I think that on a quick makeup day, if you just want a wash of color over your eyes, then probably the lid stars are best used for that. I don't like them together. I think that I just think it's better suited for a one eyeshadow look, so I'll try that next time. I just had both, and so I wanted to try both. Alright guys, this is what we're working with, and I think we can all agree that probably Glossier would not approve of what I have created with their eyeshadows. Yeah, as far as the lid stars go, I think that they are nice, but they're much better for a single wash of color. They do dry down to a powder type finish, so you don't have to worry about glitter fallout throughout the day. That's not how this works. It's much more of a cream shadow with just a slight shimmer. Once you blend it out with your fingertips or with a brush, it does dry down to a powder finish, and my eyelids do not feel crunchy or stiff in any way. This is the end result, and while I think it looks okay, the next time I use those shadows, it will definitely be just one at a time. If you're interested about the rest of the eye look, I finished it off with a couple of shades from the Narcissist Wanted palette, and then I used my NARS eyeliner in the shade Barrow Street, which I really love, and unfortunately forgot that it is a twist top, and I tried to sharpen it. It's just gonna be one of those days. I'm going to go ahead and use the water and just lightly set the rest of my face. Now keep in mind I don't have blush or bronzer or anything like that on. I do notice that the powder has mattified my appearance a bit. The glow from the skin tint is now gone. The coverage, the slight coverage is still there, but you can see that my skin has mattified, but it is completely dry and I didn't apply too much powder. Again, I have to say that I don't really care for the brush too much. I think it's fine, but since you can buy the powder separately, I don't think that it's something that you need. Okay, here's what my skin looks like so far. Feels very nice. I do prefer how it feels underneath my eyes. I think I'm gonna really like this powder for setting underneath the eye. I just like the smoothing effect and I really could use that in that area. I'm gonna finish my complexion and I will be right back. Alright guys, I'm back and it is 10 hours later. I have literally been wearing this makeup for 10 hours, but after I finished doing my makeup, I had to go run some errands, and so I had finished doing the whole Glossier look and I just added a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of highlight, and some lip balm, and that's how I went about my day. Now I'm looking at my skin. I think that it still looks really good. The skin tint definitely did last all day. I mean, it wasn't significant coverage anyway. And I'm looking at the places where my foundation usually settles, and I do see a little bit inside my smile lines, but that's very typical for me. Yeah, I don't see any other issue except for this breakout here. that was there before I started, so I know that it's not anything having to do with the products. Let's go ahead and give you the rundown of all the products that I tried, and I'll let you know which ones I thought were worth it and which ones were not. Overall, my ordering experience from the company was really good, and they did give me a link with, I think it's a 10% off coupon if for a first-time purchaser. But when I purchased, I actually used a link from Michelle Wang's channel, and her link gives 30% because she's a Glossier rep, so I'll definitely put her link down there as well. In case you want to try it out, her discount is definitely better, but if you do choose to use the discount that they gave me, I think that it gives me some percentage off my next purchase, which I definitely want to purchase from the company again. So you decide, but definitely the better deal for you is to use her link, and that's how I purchased my products. So I'm just putting that out there. The first product that I used was the skin tint, and I actually really like this. I don't really like full coverage foundations. In the summertime, I'm looking for something very light, and this is good enough to give me just a little bit of evening out of my skin tone, and I love the radiant effect that it had. I was actually sorry that I lost that when I applied the powder over it, so now I know that I can apply this on its own and just have a really beautiful radiant finish, and maybe use that with cream bronzers and just leave my face like that for a luminous finish. I actually like this one, and I think that the shade worked out really well for me. Again, I got the shade medium. Yeah, I'll definitely finish that out. The next product that I tried was the Wowder, and I really loved how this worked underneath the eyes. I liked it fine for setting my makeup as well, but I was really disappointed that it ruined the luminous finish that I had going on. I prefer a radiant finish for my foundation because I am dry skin. I rarely get that unless I have it from products that I apply to my face, and this did tone it down a little bit, so it's fine. I mean, it definitely did what it's supposed to do. It set the foundation or the skin tint really nicely, and I was able to apply bronzer and highlight over it without any issue. I really liked it for underneath the eyes though, and I also liked it for setting my lids. Even though once I put the cream shadow, I moved it, I was really loving how it looked before I applied the cream shadow. So I think I'm going to continue to use this way. Like I told you, I bought the bundle with a brush. And honestly, if you're looking into this, I don't think that the brush is necessarily worth it, but I think that you should get the powder on its own. I forget the exact price difference if you get the powder versus the bundle, but I'll definitely put it on the screen so that you can make a better decision for yourself. But I'm impressed with the powder. I really liked how it set my under eye, and that smooth feeling is still there even so many hours later, although my concealer did crease a little bit, as it typically does. The next thing I tried were the shadows, and I have to say that this is where I was a little disappointed. I really love the packaging though. I think it's so cute how it looks like a test tube. As I found out during the demo, you saw that I really believe that this is better used as a wash of color rather than blending the two colors together. Throughout the day it lasted well. It didn't crease, but that's because it has a powder finish. When it finally sets, it sets just like a powder shadow, and I think that if you're going to have a powder finish, you just may as well put on a powder shadow. You can definitely achieve the look that I have with a powder eyeshadow, and it actually looks like I applied a powder eyeshadow. My hair here so you can see. Yeah, I don't experience any creasing, but at the same time I feel that it just doesn't look different than a powder would, and because a powder is so much easier to work with in terms of eyeshadow, this is a product I won't be repurchasing. I'll probably use them as a single wash of color all over the lid whenever I'm doing a quick makeup look, but overall not my favorite product that I tried. And then I was able to try the perfume, and I have to say I don't smell it on myself anymore. I don't think it has very good lasting power, and the pepper kind of smell really didn't sit well with me. Maybe with my body chemistry it just doesn't work. But let me know what you think of this perfume if you've tried it. I think it was good. I'm glad that they sent it along because that was one of the products that I was wanting to try. And it's hard when you have to buy a fragrance and you haven't smelled it before, so I'm glad I did get a sample. I now know I'll probably use the sample because I like to use up samples, but I won't be repurchasing the full size. The winning products for me were definitely the powder and the skin tint. If you have dry skin, I think this is a powder that could work very, very well for you. I do recommend the skin tint, but again, it's taking into consideration that you're not going to be getting a lot of full coverage. You're not going to be getting anything like that. It's very, very subtle, but it is very beautiful. So just something to keep in mind. I do recommend those two. I'm glad I got to try out the brand. It was a very pleasant and positive shopping experience, and overall, very happy with my experiment. If you've tried Glossier, let me know what your favorite products are because I definitely want to make another purchase, especially for their Flex Concealer. That has my attention right now. And I've also heard really good things about their, I think they call them lip tints or something, and the Boy Brow. So those are the things that are on my list. If there's anything else that needs to be on my radar, please let me know. And let me know if you're interested in trying out the brand. That's everything for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. The next brand that I plan to try out is going to be LC Cosmetics. That was also in my video, so definitely stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see that in the future. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I hope you're having a good one, and I will see you again really, really soon on my next one. Bye-bye.